Hello everyone, welcome to the Ranting Shop. It's me, Melissa, and today I want to talk about the Never Ever Met Season 1, Episode 9. Now, I know in the previous episode I said that one thing I appreciate about Jodie is that she tells the truth. Now, let me backtrack a little bit. What I meant was that her facial expressions tell the truth of how she feels. Verbally, though, she always contradicts herself, and I feel like part of it is her wanting to stay on this show for some reason. I don't know if it's producer based or show based, but it's clear that she doesn't see anything with Aaron, and she's being forced, is what it looks like, to stay on this show and prolong this agony that it looks like she's going through. So anyways, she's talking to the therapist, and again she's giving these excuses about her trauma this and her trauma that, and she's a complex person, and she all of that, almost using it as an excuse as to why she's not bonding with Aaron, when she knows fully well the basis of her not bonding with Aaron has nothing to do with any of that. It has everything to do with the fact that she does not like Aaron. And I'm tired of saying this. And people are drinking the Kool-Aid and saying, oh, it is her trauma. When people have been through trauma, that's how they... That is not true in this case. Because I feel like when people have gone through trauma and they still want the partner that they're with, you'll probably see something more similar to a Millie and a Greg situation. Both of them have been through trauma. Do you see Millie treating Greg disrespectfully? Do you see Millie being disgusted at Greg? No. So that is the biggest difference. So people that want to use the trauma route to justify Jodie's actions, take a look at Greg and Millie. They've both been through trauma, and you don't see any of them treating each other the way Jodie treats Aaron. Period. That's that on that conversation. Now, I was quite shocked that despite her body language and the therapist's body language, she continues to lie to the therapist and make it a situation of, it's my trauma. And yeah, I do see something with Aaron. No, you don't see anything with Aaron. Because again, with the basis of what you guys consider a marriage business, okay, fine, you see marriage as a business. Nobody goes into a business relationship with people that they don't fundamentally like. And so then she's bringing up these excuses of she's a complex person, and she sees that essentially he is trying, and it's like, okay, you see him trying, why don't you even try yourself to reciprocate? It's almost like she's giving excuses, and I'm just sick of it. Whatever else she had to say were excuses, and I'm sick of it. Let's move on. I think she's created these rules and conditions about preparing not to love and preparing around Aaron because she doesn't like him, and she knows she's never going to love him. And for some reason, he's accepted this, which to me is crazy and speaks to his lack of self-worth and self-esteem. Because for a man to be for a woman like this that doesn't appreciate you, it's nothing but your dislike for yourself. I feel like Jodie is really good at just creating a lot of BS scenarios so that she stays on this show for some reason. But it's like she's trying to stay, but she doesn't want to be there. It's contradictory, which is why I'm thinking that producers probably decided, okay, you guys are going to be the last couples. Just make it work until the end of the show. Because other than that, I just don't understand prolonging this. Like, what would be the reason? To prove what to who? To stretch out this guy's misery? Like, for what? It has to be show-based. Then they have this game that they're playing it on, I think it's Greg's birthday thing that they were doing. And I guess initially it wasn't supposed to be a sexual thing, but of course it gets sexual. So then we have Aaron grinding behind Jodie, and Jodie looks disgusted, as she typically does. She looks like she wants to throw up. And then in the confessional she goes, well, this is good for couples because you get a preview of what it's like in their bedroom, and sometimes you don't want to sleep with them after you see the preview or whatever the hell she was saying. Like prior to that, you'd even want to sleep with him anyway. So it's like, and I see her under his comments, and to me it doesn't seem as if it's genuine. It just seems as if she's trying to keep up appearances that she's not this horrible person to Aaron. So she's keeping up this facade of continuing to communicate with him because she knows the backlash that she's getting because of how she's being portrayed on that show. And it just annoys me that not a lot of people are like getting Jody together. It's almost as if they're giving her an excuse, or like they're deciding to let this skate by. Granted, production does things, and producers tell you what to say and whatever the case may be, but clearly her facial expressions, nobody's telling her to look that way, nobody's telling her to act uncomfortable, nobody's telling her to say she didn't feel nothing. Like, so it just is really annoying that they end up making it to the end, and before we even go to that part, they do a truth or dare thing, and then Aaron gets down and it looks like they tell him to get naked and run around the house or whatever the case is, and he does it and it looks like he's wearing a thong. And everybody already thinks he's gay. So like when people saw that, I'm pretty sure people were like, okay, that kind of justifies our thoughts and feelings when it came to him. So he's walking around butt naked, and I think he clarified and he said what it really was that he had on, and he said it was something to do with the mic, and I guess it was plugged down there. So I guess that's what it was, but it looked like a thong. But anyways, they end up making it to the end because I think next episode is the final episode, and I don't know, having to watch them throughout this entire thing has been exhausting because it's like there's not even any suspense there. There's not even a case of, oh, will she, won't she, will he, won't he. It's just very obvious what's been happening, and it's been consistent that she doesn't like him like that. And hopefully we see that she's gonna sit him down and finally tell him, I don't see us in anything romantic. I just see us as friends, if anything. And just let this guy move on, because this has been torturous to watch. Okay, so let's go into the hillbilly couple. That is Josh and Shay. Now, they were talking to Taronda, and Taronda looked so hesitant with them. She's like, y'all doing what? Because she's joking and saying, oh, they're gonna move in together. Taronda was like super skeptical, like, really? He's like, no, I'm joking. And they talk about the kids, and she's like, I love kids, and oh, we're gonna just find a central place to move to. We're looking at Texas. And then they go do matching tattoos. And Taronda was like, stay out of the boom boom room, which was hilarious because it's true. Like, you guys need to work out your mess. All y'all do is sleep with each other and just act like this is a honeymoon. Like, this is real life after this. Like, what are you guys doing after this? And I think people were saying that when Alexis did the interview with Kamisha Reviews, that she said that Josh told her the thing with Shay was fake. I wouldn't be shocked if that really was the case, because their situation seems the most unrealistic out of all the other groups. And it would make sense that they just were friends that decided to meet and sleep together on a show and enjoy the mansions and the food and everything else. So, I mean, that's not far-fetched. But either way it goes, Alexis said that it was him that was basically flirting with her, asking her to spin around, saying he liked to see her in the suits, and oh, let's go to this blind spot. Go to a blind spot for what reason? Like, the only way or reason you'd go to a blind spot on a TV show is to sleep with the individual or to say something that you know would be scandalous. Like, other than that, like, what's the point? But anyway, she said they did that, and she did it too so she could get more tea about Dominique, the same Dominique that wanted to basically strangle her on the show. She wanted to get more details about him because apparently he was flirting with a producer and whatever the case may be. Either way it goes, I do feel like Josh definitely spoke inappropriately with Alexis. I don't think he did anything physical, but definitely verbally inappropriate. The ease with which she decides to forgive Josh and just let things go, I don't know. She says she has trust issues, but it's like, for somebody with trust issues, she sure does forgive people quickly. Because he's done a lot of questionable things and it's all been swept under the rug. The extra child has been swept under the rug. The flirting with Alexis has been swept under the rug. Like, his rotten teeth has been swept under the rug. The whole roommate situation with the so-called baby mama roommate has been questionable. And the way she just lets this go, it has to be a situation where either she wasn't with him at that time or she also had her own situation, because I feel like people keep ignoring the fact that in the very beginning of the show, she says, yes, they were in something for 12 years, but it was off and on. And she repeats it this episode when the sister comes in. The sister is way more put together than she. It's giving that's her friend, not her sister. But anyways, she comes in and she's explaining, oh, do you know Josh? She's acting like she's spoken to her family about Josh when she knows she hasn't. She admits that she hasn't told them anything about Josh. She wants to get familiar with Josh more before she introduces him to her family. And some people think it's understandable, because there's one thing to talk to somebody online for 12 years and there's another thing to meet somebody in person and talk to them in front of their face and see how they interact in a house together and see how they move, you know. So I understand to a certain extent, but after 12 years, it's like, you would at least have mentioned him to your family. The sister didn't seem to know anything about him. She was actually quite shocked. So she's explaining everything. The sister is quite skeptical. She mentions the tattoo because this is after they went and got matching tattoos. And it's like she's just seeing red flags and choosing to ignore them. Why? I have no idea. But I think the sister saw a lot of red flags, the tattoos, her not knowing the guy, and them talking about moving in together. It's crazy. And so Josh ends up meeting first he goes and talks to the sister. And he's like, oh, my intention with her is this. I want to move in with her. We want to get married. Well, after 2 years, we want to get to know each other more after 2 years and then get married and whatever the case may be. And everything he's saying is sounding okay. I guess some things are sounding questionable. But overall, she's like, okay, he's fine. Like, you could be with him. You guys could be together or whatever. Not that she was asking for permission, because she's going to do what she's going to do. Josh's friend, on the other hand, similarly skeptical. But feels like, okay, if he is happy with this, he could do what he wants to do. She mentions the fact that the friend and her has had a tumultuous beginning for whatever reason. What we've seen from this show, there's a lot of drama, but they choose to be very surface level with their drama. So we don't know the ins and outs of their issues. All we know is he had a child. All we know is Aaron proposed on social media. Like, we don't know. So it's like we don't know how to feel about any of this stuff, you know. So anyways, so the sister is like, okay. The friend is like, whatever makes you happy. Turns out the friend did pass away within those 2 years of filming and then finally airing it. He passed. So I want to extend my sympathies to Josh. But this couple is giving toxic and it's not gonna last. Foundationally, it doesn't make sense. In the real world, I don't think it's gonna work. Right now, it's happy and it's fun because you guys are living in a mansion. You guys are getting free food. You guys get to go in their pool, get to live a fun life on this TV screen. So of course everything seems idealistic and perfect, but I don't think it's gonna work outside of this. So anyways, let's go on to Greg and Millie. So far, Greg has been on Millie's good side. She did a whole birthday thing for him, a surprise birthday thing. They went to dinner. He's eating ice cream super weirdly at the dinner. Then they talk about children, and Millie's like, I'm not old, but I am getting into the stage of being a geriatric pregnant person, so I need to get on the ball with that. So she has this window where she wants children and she wants, I guess, a marriage and a partner and so on. So she's making that clear to Greg. He thinks Millie is the right situation potentially for him. I don't know about that. I don't know about all that. Like, based on what we've seen from Millie, she's a very explosive character. So I don't know how that's gonna work within a relationship. I think it's gonna be a lot of explosions, and I don't know if Greg really wants that. Meanwhile, the guys are at the house preparing for his surprise birthday party. She was throwing shade at Diamond and Aaron, basically saying that everybody's working, but Aaron and Diamond are playing pool or whatever the case is. Either way, they came together, they surprised him, they played games, and it always starts off innocent and becomes sexual every single time. So that occurred. It seemed like he had a really good time, and it seems like everything is coming together for him and Millie. I don't know if that relationship is sustainable outside of this house, but we shall see. So Sandia and Chris. So they go horseback riding. One thing about Chris, he does set up a really romantic date every time. And they're talking about their futures outside of the house. So she's basically saying when she gets back home, she's gonna go back into her routine, go to the gym. She's preparing to become a nurse, and she wants to be independent. And what really kind of shocked me about Chris's response, it didn't really shock me, but it was kind of giving red flag, is that he's telling her, well, I don't want you to work. And it goes back to his toxic mentality that if a woman makes more than him, he doesn't want that, because then the woman starts to try to control things and they're poor decision makers and all these types of things. And you see how Sandia, when asked the question of what does she want with this relationship, does she want to continue to pursue it despite some ways about me that you don't like, and she says she's open. So I feel like there are certain things that she doesn't like and she needs to think about further, which, okay, I give it to her. She's not closing the door, but she's not opening it up completely. She's, I think, gonna go home and reflect, talk to her family and see what they say and make her decision from there. But I think out of this show, when she goes back to her family and they put some sense into her and they let her know certain things, then it's either she decides to stay with him or move on. But it's really not giving that this relationship is gonna be great for Sandia. Sandia wants to be independent. She wants her own money, and any man that wants to keep you home and pregnant and doing the traditional feminine or female roles is a man that wants to control you. And I don't think Sandia wants to be controlled. And so I think they're gonna have a tough time outside of this house, because I just don't see it, to be honest. And one thing I don't like about him is how he commands Sandia to do something and she does it. Like the time he lifted her up so that she would dance with Aaron. I saw that as a red flag. And then in this episode, I think while they were playing the game, Chris daring Sandia to kiss Jody was crazy to me. She was clearly not comfortable with doing that. He knows that, but I feel like he did it to see if she's gonna go along with whatever I say. And her wanting Chris for whatever reason, she obliged. But then she says, oh, I'm never gonna do it again. That's what you think. Because with a guy like that, you'll end up doing things you never thought you'd do because you want to keep him. Right? So, I don't know. Just bad signs all around. So then we have, I think this is the last but not least couple. It's Diamond and Aaron. So he's met the daughter. The daughter is a little skeptical, but I guess this is a TV show, so she goes along with it fine. So he goes, picks Diamond's a ring for Diamond, takes her on this really nice date. I think after the grilling from last episode, she's definitely starting to just mind her business and focus on her man and their relationship, and you could see it. And so they've taken themselves away from what they say is the young people, went and played pools, they went on a romantic date, but before that they spoke to the therapist, and their whole thing is about the other people and about drama. And I think the therapist is privy to that information. But this is about you guys. It's not about the house. It's not about how you see them as young and you see them as children. It's about your relationship. Speak about you guys' relationship. That was essentially what the therapist was trying to say. And it proved that, yes, you guys are messy because this is about you guys and you guys are talking about other people. So on the situation with the sister, she essentially said, well, my sister doesn't really show respect for my relationship. So she essentially chose Aaron instead. I like that the therapist said don't make it a habit of getting in drama and using that to draw you guys closer together, because actually it's very toxic. It's giving us against the world. You guys are the one causing the drama and then using the drama to push you guys together, because it's like, oh, everybody's against us now, so all we have is each other. It's this thing of it's us against the world. It's quite toxic, and I don't know if she sees it, but I feel like he's using the drama, or maybe they both are, to kind of alienate themselves from the rest of everybody else, which to me is not a very positive thing to do. Then they go on this really romantic date. She's drinking and she's saying it's because of the house. Diamond is possibly because I think you guys kind of maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally created a lot of friction in the house. So it's like, okay. And then he gets down on his knees, he proposes, she doesn't say anything. So we don't know. We've been left on a cliffhanger. So we have to tune in next episode to find out whether she accepts his proposal or not. What do you guys think? Does she accept the proposal or not? I don't know. We'll see. What do you guys think about this episode? Share with me in the comment section, like, subscribe, and see you guys next time. Bye.